Yes, hello. Gerry McIntyre here, and I'm the host of UNSUNG. I'm also the Associate Artistic Director of the York Theatre. And our guest tonight is Sarafina Bush, who is the costume designer for Passover, which is the play at the August Wilson, which is going to reopen Broadway after the pandemic. And she's also the costume designer for Nina Simone, the show I'm directing at the Berkshire Theatre Group. So to me, it's the perfect person to have because this is what I wanted UNSUNG to be. I wanted it to be BIPOC artists who are like in the background, who's not, in the front lines. But we can't do theater without them. So ladies and gentlemen, here is Sarafina Bush. Hi.
Hi, Gerry.
How are you?
I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah,
Good.
how are you?
I'm so good. I'm so good. Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sarafina Bush. She is the costume designer for Passover, the new play that is about to reopen Broadway. I mean, people talk about Sarafina that Bruce.
No pressure.
No pressure at all. They talk about Bruce Springsteen being the one to open Broadway. I'm like, Bruce Springsteen is a
concert.
Concert. Sarafina Bush is opening Broadway, people. That's the real deal. Oh my God, I don't know what first of all, she's also my costume designer for Nina Simone for women that I'm doing at the Berkshire Theatre Group. Yes. And we just had a little stumble through of the show today, and she's so darn busy that she's Zoomed, which is amazing. So we just kind of met our friend Dustin Cross, and I said, I need a person of color to help me out in my life. And you came on board.
Yeah, for Nina Simone, you absolutely do.
Oh my God, exactly. And then you know what? That I tried to get her to do another job for me of Misbehaving, but guess what, ladies and gentlemen? She is too damn busy.
She's booked.
She's booked and blessed on the Great White Way.
Highly favored.
Highly favored. But now maybe the Great White Way is not the Great White Way anymore, since Passover is the first show to open on Broadway.
Yeah.
Tell me what you feel. How do you feel about all that and that title and all that stuff that goes with it?
I'm really excited about it. I have so many feelings.
Yeah.
Excited, and it's also a lot of pressure to be the first play reopening Broadway. Wow. So many weeks ahead of everyone else, but I've also been trying to allow myself to experience the joy of it. With this is my Broadway debut as a designer, though I've been an assistant and associate many times over the last several years. This is my first show as the principal designer. So it's very exciting to me that Broadway is reopening with a play that is so deeply Black.
Yes.
So Black.
Now I got to see it in Chicago by accident. I was doing Spamilton across the street, and I just needed a break. You just watch the show every night. I'm like, oh, I need a break. So I just went across the street to Steppenwolf, and I knew John from Superior Donuts.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, well, I mean, we met at a bar, as most friendships usually start. Right. So I met him at the Hourglass Tavern. He was doing Superior Donuts. And then I went across the street when I was in Chicago, and I saw him and I was like, oh my God, this play. I went because I saw his name. I didn't know I was going to be rocked. I didn't know I was going to be, I sat in my seat for a long time till the lights came up and people were just like, why is that crazy man sitting still in the seat and the show's been over? It's, oh God, it was jolting to me at that time because it was what, 2017?
2017, yeah.
So we didn't have all the information we have now. It was pre all that COVID and George Floyd and all that stuff. It was so wild that it kind of, history just did what it does. And it was wild now in hindsight. When did you start with the show?
I was brought onto the show when it moved to New York City at LCT3. And that was in 2018. So that was the next iteration after Chicago. And since Broadway, that was the most recent production of it.
Okay, so just tell us how it started. So it's just tell us the levels or the places, the theaters it's been.
Oh, now I don't remember exactly where, but there was a reading there. Antoinette, in her introduction on the first day of tech, told us a little bit about the history of the play. And she said that there were 5 iterations of it. So there were even before Chicago, there were 2 versions of the play.
Awesome.
So there were 2 versions, and then it went to Chicago, and then they moved to LCT3 for the New York City debut, which is where I joined, and the sound designer joined the team.
Yeah.
And then a couple months ago, I got a call from Danya Tamor, our director, and was like, hey, so we might be moving to Broadway. It's a thing we've been talking about. Let us know what your schedule is like, and we'll let you know what's happening. And then fast forward a couple of weeks later, I got the email and was like, yeah, this is official. We're doing it. It's happening.
Oh my God. And
it just so happened that we are the first, which is wild.
Wild. Oh my God. That is so crazy. I was, doing my homework, and I just found this thing that Antoinette did. It was like a little trailer. So I'm going to play the trailer because she talks about what the show is about in her words.
Passover is about the friendship between 2 young men, 2 young Black men, who are deeply disenfranchised by their country and by their society and by their community. The inspiration of the play is threefold. After the death, and then really the trial for the death of Trayvon Martin, I felt so angry. And so that anger is kind of continually with me, and it was something that I needed to both capture and express. So that was sort of the political side. And then in my teaching career, I was teaching at the Borough of Manhattan Community College in Tribeca. And so in my daily life, I was coming in contact with young Black and brown men who at the time were victims of stop and frisk, who at the time were constantly in peril of being caught up in different systems, whether it's the justice system or the legal system, or even, housing development or whatever systems. And then the third aspect, personally, I was feeling like even I was in a wilderness. How do I keep myself engaged in the American experiment as a citizen of this country while I am feeling so angry and so betrayed by what this country is? Are we a nation that is okay with violence against Black men? Are we a nation that feels that we can change that dynamic? Are we a nation that values these young Black men's lives? This is part of the conversation that we're having about who we are as a nation. I mean, this is one of the ways that I enter that conversation. Who are we as a nation?
tell me about, I'm kind of obsessed with Antoinette. I'm when I say kind of, I mean, I'm really obsessed with her.
Yeah. You
Tell
ever
me,
met her in person?
never
Like
met her.
her in-person vibes are even, you can, it comes across in all of her videos. It came across in the video that you just showed, but in person, she is just such a full hearted and spirited person.
Yeah.
It's been so incredible
Yeah.
and such a blessing to be in her presence on this show.
Right.
And one of the things that I've been particularly grateful to her for is that the version of the show that we're bringing to Broadway is not the version that you saw in Chicago.
Really?
And so it's going to be just as impactful, but in a different way for Black audience members specifically.
Oh my God. You
So
can't believe it.
yeah, that shell shock that you felt at the end in Chicago.
Yeah.
I think the overall tone when you walk away this time is going to be a lot more hopeful.
Oh, okay. I mean, you can, like, what do you feel about that change? Do you knowing the first one and the second one?
Listen, we teched that moment finally yesterday in the theater.
Yeah.
And I had to take a second. Wow. And I cried.
Yeah.
I went to the bathroom, not because of it bringing up trauma or it bringing up negative emotions, but because it inspired such hope to see these Black characters have a different ending.
Wow. That's amazing to me. What about the producers? What did they say? Like, oh,
they're on board.
You're on board?
Yeah.
Because
everybody's on board.
Because if I was one of the producers, I'm like, what do you mean you changed in the ending?
No.
That's fantastic.
It's been the conversation pretty much since we started talking about moving it to Broadway. One of the main things that Antoinette came into the room saying was, I don't want to re-traumatize people.
Yeah.
We've just been through, we as a people have been through so much over centuries, and especially in this last year and a half of seeing so much violence against Black bodies on camera.
That's my thing about it.
She was like, we can't do that.
Yeah.
We have to leave people with a different message going forward. And I'm so grateful to her for that, because I honestly was like, I don't know how I'm going to preserve my mental wellness.
Yes.
To watch the old version repeatedly in previews after this week and a half.
Oh, I see. Wow. Hey, oh my God, it sounds like it's like a healing thing now, it's
so healing.
Oh God.
So healing. And that's honestly, that's what made me cry yesterday, was that I could feel the healing energy from it, even just in tech, where we're stopping and starting and not getting the full emotional impact.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me, how was walking in to a Broadway theater? It started so early, the crying. Walking to a Broadway theater after not being in any theater, especially in New York City, and this is your Broadway debut. What was going on in your brain and your soul?
I would love to say that it was a really special moment, the entering into the theater. But sometimes when we're working on a production, we get bogged down in all the things that need to get done before we hit photos, or before we hit an audience, or before whatever stage in the process we are. And so I think that's part of what happened yesterday, was that it finally all hit me at once, what was both the healing of it and what was happening in this moment, that I was sitting in tech for my first Broadway show, for the first Broadway show back after a year and a half of being dark.
Just nothing, just absolutely. Did you do like any stuff during the pandemic?
Yeah, you know, virtual theater, Zoom theater. Danya and I worked on a filmed production of a play with Juilliard students that I designed from this very chair and never left it. Like, all of my fittings were over the Zoom screen. All of my shopping was just sending in links from this chair.
Oh my, that's bananas. That's bananas.
It's bananas.
I was teaching musical theater dance on a Zoom screen with 20 students. You can't do that. You can't be a costume designer or choreographer and do it on the Zoom. It was just like,
no, our jobs are so personal.
It is
so personal. And you really have to be in person for it.
You have to be. It's so weird to me. It's so weird. But that, I mean, no, in this, at the August Wilson, do you have to be vaccinated? They're wearing masks?
Yes, all of the above. We are being so incredibly safe and so taken care of by our COVID manager, Pam Remler. And the team, the company that she is working with is called Infectious Economics, and they are run by now I'm gonna forget her last name, but this woman's name is Blythe, and she is one of the very few epidemiologists who in the country who the government called in when this started and was like, hey, we need you to figure this out.
Oh my God.
She's the woman who came up with the NBA bubble.
Oh, really?
If that means anything to you, if you're a sports fan.
Yeah, well, I know the bubble because I'm Godspell. That's the only reason I know the bubble.
Yeah, so we have the entire cast and crew is all vaccinated. In order to see the show, you have to be vaccinated. We get tested 3 times a week, and we all wear K95s. The actors are the only ones, and Danya sometimes are the only ones who can be unmasked in the theater.
Wow.
Even with being vaccinated.
Being vaccinated. You know, I'm going to say lucky and not so lucky to do Godspell here at the Berkshires. It was that thing about it's not really, you know, we had to have plastic partitions in front of the actors and things. But so now this time being here this summer at the Berkshires, being in a rehearsal room with no mask and actually being able to, like, you know, go up and touch the actor or talk to the actor close. It's just a completely different thing. Absolutely. But now we have to the audiences have to wear the mask again now here. So
yeah, that's good though. It keeps everyone safe.
Exactly. And you know, everyone just keeps saying, that Delta. And I was like, oh, Delta. Delta's going to try to kick our
playing butt. Around.
Come on, Delta. It used to be my favorite airline. Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I want to know about you. I want to know about how this all happened. Where'd you grow up? When you went to school? All that stuff. Let's hear that.
Oh my gosh. I'm born and raised in Brooklyn. So I'm a New York City native, which I know is very rare in our industry. Yes. Flatbush. And I went to school at Adelphi University, but I did not study theater. I did not formally study theater. I dabbled in some classes and did some independent studies with the costume design professor, worked on a couple of productions, but I don't have a single degree that says theater on it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What was your degree in? What did you graduate with?
I was I was a French major and a dance minor.
No, no, no,
Yes.
no. I don't, you never told me that. Oh my
Yeah.
God. Oh
Yeah,
my
I know.
God.
It's so random, kind of.
Well, not kind of, it is, but I mean, it's good though. So how did you end up doing costumes?
As a performer, as a dancer, I had to take tech classes. So I had to do the intro to costumes class my freshman year. And for our final project, we did a paper design of importance of being earnest, and I got to sketch it out. And I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like I've always liked clothes and storytelling and history and things like that. And the costume professor pulled me aside after my final and was like, you know, you're actually kind of good at this. Are you interested in exploring it further? We can do some independent studies. You can assist me. He asked if I would assist him on the musical that we would be putting up the next semester, which was Rent. And so I assisted him on that and designed a couple things after that and just kind of fell into it.
And then you just followed him or something, or he recommended you to people, or it just happened?
Well, it honestly, it was a series of fortunate mistakes how I ended up in the theater industry, because my first professional step into the industry was as an intern at the Public, where my best friend had been an intern, and we were hanging out and decided to walk down to the Public to say hi to her friends in the props department. And we asked if they knew if the costume department needed any help. And the person who ran props at that point, Jay, was he just picked up the phone and called Luke and was like, hey, I have a young woman in front of me who's asking about interning with your department. Do you need any help? And he was like, yeah, send her up.
Oh, oh my
Got an
God.
interview, got the internship. And that was that.
That was that. And then you just started to assist people, or how did you end up in that whole, because you're the most busiest working woman now.
Thank you. I did a little bit of everything. I assisted, I did wardrobe for a little while, because it was much more stable than doing assistant work a lot of the time.
Yeah.
So I kind of got into the habit of juggling a lot of shows, because that's kind of what we have to do in order to stay afloat. So for several years when I started out, I would run wardrobe in the evening and assist during the day.
And what shows were you doing recently? Because we had a meeting, you're like, I don't know how I'm juggling all this stuff, but I'm doing it. What were you, tell the people what you've been working on.
So I'm also in a very particular moment in my career where I'm starting to get more design work, but I still have all of my assistant and associate work that I haven't trained someone to do yet, because this has all happened so suddenly. But I am the associate on Jagged Little Pill, was the assistant designer on Dear Evan Hansen with its 3 companies, Broadway tour and London. I was the assistant on Caroline or Change, which we were about to do our invited dress the day that Broadway shut down.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. And then I just got, I had, before the pandemic, like maybe 3 or 4 days before everything shut down, I had interviewed to be Paul Tazwell's assistant on MJ the Musical. And pandemic, didn't hear anything. And then as things started to come back up, got the call that I had gotten that.
So were you able to do That MJ?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Yes.
So when is that supposed to happen?
It is starting. It's a big show. It's a really big show.
Oh my God. I'm so excited to see MJ. I mean, I'm
Me too.
I'm sure you are. MJ is I grew up with that. It's amazing. I grew up
Yeah.
with that music. Oh God.
Yeah, it's the music. I was uh only slightly related. I was listening to Janet Jackson quite a bit the last couple days.
Wow.
And can't wait for there to be a Janet Jackson musical because I feel like that could be a moment.
I mean, Jane's my girl too now. Control.
You know?
I know it very well. So good, so good. And so you're booked and blessed till you want not to be. It's like, or you know what I mean? You just keep working and working?
Yeah. No, I'm in a moment where I'm trying to be more discerning, decisive,
Yes.
intentional about the work that I take.
Yes.
Because part of what happened because of my route into the industry, because I didn't, I don't have the degree, and I kind of did almost an old school apprenticeship type situation where I learned the job by doing the job.
Right.
For a long time, I just took pretty much every offer that came my way as long as I could.
Right.
And I'm finally realizing that I don't have to do that anymore. But it's a hard habit to kick.
I'm so with you. I'm feeling the same thing right now. It's just, it's that thing that, like, I have job to job, and I have like jobs till now March.
Yes, same. What are we doing?
It's amen. It's like, it's so, but I'm like going, oh, I have one day just to fly there. And then I start another rehearsal. And then you have to figure out, like you said, it's like, okay, I'm just so always used to just saying yes and yes, because I just wanted to work, to be the hamster in the wheel. And now it's like, okay, at some point I have to refill the well.
Exactly.
I just need some sand between my toes and maybe some water, maybe. Because the only way that we can work to be good is be present.
Exactly.
So wild. He said, because it's be careful what you ask for. Just might get it.
I asked for this and I got it, and now I don't know what to do with it.
That's the thing about you going, okay, be very specific when you say it's like, God, I'm going to want to design a Broadway show, and then I'll be able to take a week vacation in Laguna Beach. Be very specific, because
exactly.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Speak rest into it as well.
Yes, indeed. Now, in this whole crazy thing, in this whole crazy process of being a Black woman in this business, tell me, how did that go? How was the ride?
The deep sigh.
Yeah, the side B.
The deep sigh. Yeah. Man, it was hard. It's hard sometimes. The layers of imposter syndrome are thick because of my identity and because of my lack of degree. And so I feel like the last 10 years have been a lot of trying to prove that I belong here.
Yeah.
And that I deserve to work.
Yeah.
In the way that I have been working.
Exactly.
That I'm sure you've heard this 1,000 times. A lot of times we get that, well, you're the diversity hire line.
Oh,
Even if it's not explicit, even if it's not explicit.
exactly said, yes.
You can feel the energy of people being like, I don't know if you really deserve to be here or if we just hired you because we needed to fill a quotient.
Yeah, check a box.
Yes, exactly. I check a lot of boxes.
Yes, indeed.
My identity checks a lot of boxes.
Yeah.
And I'm very aware of that. And it had, even if it hasn't been hard, like actually hard in terms of macro aggressions, it's been hard internally to shake myself of the things that we're taught to believe.
Yeah. Yeah. So Danya, is I'm saying this right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she found you. Did you work? That's how, like, she requested you, and that's how you got. Wow. What? And that's a great connection.
And I believe that was because of my assistant work, because I was working with a Black costume designer in Montana, who recommended me to Danya. And so Danya requested me, and we hit it off, and we've done many projects together.
Wow. How is that production meeting with those? Because it's really diverse.
Mm-hmm.
That group,
Mm-hmm.
right? So good. That's what I mean. I saw, I was reading, doing stuff, and checking and seeing what the group is.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of women, Black women. I was like, this is what we need. This is what we want.
Mm-hmm.
And Antoinette said in some interviews, like, this is not your mama and daddy Broadway anymore.
That's a fact.
Hallelujah. To me, that's the part that we can change.
Right.
So much stuff that we cannot change, but this we can. And, I was reading about the tickets, that they're putting aside tickets.
Access tickets. I know.
Unbelievable. They're putting tickets aside, ladies and gentlemen, for BIPOC organizations and churches and stuff, so that Broadway is not just going to be what it used to be. So that you'll be sitting next to someone, like, because they're like in the house seats too, that are $40. So so
good seats.
They're good seats. It's not the first and second row.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's so that people who have been historically barred access from Broadway for multiple reasons, including the cost of tickets, feel welcome. And that they are not relegated to the back row behind a column.
Exactly.
That they have exactly the same experience as someone who does have the financial means to pay for a ticket.
Wow, that is so.
It'll keep them coming back.
Yeah, and the story is that's the people that I really love to see in the theater.
Right.
But that you feel represented.
Mm-hmm.
It's not another skinny white dancer. And
right. Exactly.
I've seen that. But we need to see is us up there, and that's when I saw it in Chicago at Steppenwolf. That's why I was devastated. I was like, oh my God, this is a story about us.
Mm-hmm.
Stories about us.
Yeah.
So great. It's so wild. And there was something, I don't know, that she said that there's a wellness thing for the actors, like a wellness. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
She's so wild, you know. They want to take care of the actors. So it's like, if you have to do this show 8 times a week and feel what you feel, here's X amount of money. Go get yourself a massage, whatever you need. Go buy dinner, do whatever you need so that you can be able to tell the story.
Yes. And we just brought in an intimacy coordinator, Ann James, who is another Black woman on the team who is there to take care of that, exactly, the actor's wellness and safety on stage in these really intensely emotional moments. Because even though, you know, it's still, even though the tone has changed, there's still some really intense moments in the play. And the way that care is being shown in all directions in this theater is unlike anything I've ever experienced.
Wow. I just hope that this is only the beginning of that.
Well, I hope so too.
You know,
I don't know how I would go to another show and not have that.
Right. I don't see Music Man having the same thing.
I'm sure they won't.
Just saying. Well, I wish they had anyone of color on their team.
I'm sure they don't. That's why I'm not working on Music Man.
That's the thing about it. It's like one step forward, 2 steps back. You know, that's the thing. So, you know, when I found out it was the first show coming back to reopen Broadway, I was so happy. I couldn't believe it. At the August Wilson of all theaters. Come on.
Right. And Antoinette, I believe she is the first Black playwright to be produced in the August Wilson since August Wilson himself. It's like extra special.
I know. Oh my God, I'm stunned.
Yeah.
That is.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
I mean, sometimes, you know, you get all this information like, is it me? Because it just sounds so crazy to me. At the August Wilson Theater.
At the August Wilson. Yeah. There have been multiple of his plays. But she's the first one. So I feel like we are not only, you know, in a way blessing Broadway with the reopening with this energy.
Yes.
We're blessing the space. Also, they're having a block party to celebrate First Preview.
Are they really?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh no. Oh God. I mean,
no, it's just like the levels, the layers rather of uniqueness in the show.
Yeah.
And setting the bar of how, you know, Broadway doesn't need to be the same thing.
Right. So the whole audience is invited to go out in the street.
I'm not sure yet exactly what the deal is with the block party, but I know that they are bringing in DJ Ari Grooves from Snob, you know, Sunday night on Broadway.
Yeah.
And they're gonna DJ at the block party.
Come on. Oh my God. If I was not at the Berkshires, I would be there in a minute with like a tambourine, dancing down the street. Oh, that's awesome, awesome, awesome. And I just wanted to tell everybody about, I didn't know Sarafina. So when I got Nina, she came to me like not a kind of unknown, and I was just so impressed with your research.
Oh, thank you. It's my favorite part.
Because the research is, you just gave the information and then we can talk as artists. You know, it just opens that door. And sometimes people come in and then just think it's a favor or whatever the deal is, but you were so prepared and your work is just amazing. And I'm going to show some sketches of Nina right now. This is some of her work. And it's just gorgeous, and I adore her. And she's in my Rolodex.
Yes.
Only if you're available. I don't think we'll ever get because listen, maybe I'll ride on your coattails. Do you need an assistant? Because I'm more than available.
I will always make time. I've loved working with you on this. There's just, there's nothing better than finding a collaborator who you click with.
Yeah.
Like almost instantaneously.
Immediately. It's so good. And I'm so glad you had time. You made time for me. So because we've been talking about this for time.
Of course.
Thank you. Of
course, that was the thing. When they came to me, I was like, I'm not giving up Nina Simone. I'm sorry. I can't. I don't want to.
Right. And you have to take a picture, take a video of the block party so that I can see it. I feel I was there.
Yes, I will.
And that's the first thing when I get done that I'm gonna go back and see. It's my first thing. Because when I buy tickets to something, I want it to mean something, because the loss of theater for so long, like I don't want to see another. I was going to say a title, but I'm not going to say a title. I don't need to see that.
We keep shady together. It's fine.
Listen, I'm so now after the pandemic, I'm like, I'm gonna say everything I want, because now it's time.
Right.
Now it's time. And I think that it's gonna just open doors, and I'm hoping that it just opened up. Passover just opens doors for things, and LaChance is in a play around about too. I see they're trying. When I say they, I mean the producers, the normal producers, they are trying to do something different, and I appreciate it.
Yes.
And they're listening and go, okay. And I heard that they're gonna do for colored girls somewhere.
Yes, they are. That's what I've heard too. I don't know any specifics, but I heard the same rumor.
That is just amazing to me. And I don't think it was ever on Broadway. I think it was like at the Public or something, or never.
Not?
I don't know. See, I'm gonna have to fact check. Yeah, no, like I think I read something about that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course I saw that movie, but that wasn't the real show. But
right.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to all of it. So that's my treat to myself, because I'm gonna have to bring tissues and things.
Oh, absolutely.
Because I'm gonna be a mess.
Absolutely.
Walking into a Broadway house, seeing a show about us. Amazing. All right,
yeah.
Just so great. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Gerry.
Oh my God. Sarafina Bush, ladies and gentlemen. Sarafina Bush. Okay. I adore you, my love.
I adore you. Thank you so much, Gerry.
You're welcome. Bye.
Bye.
Oh, how about Sarafina Bush? I'm so glad that a friend introduced us, and I get to work with her. And she's just not only talented, but joyous and spiritual. I'm very happy that we got to find each other in the woods. I got some York news for you guys. Okay, we're gonna have a new home. It's the theater at St. Jean's. It's 184 East 76th Street, and it's between Lexington and 3rd Avenue. Yes, I know. It's pretty new and it's interesting, and I'm sure I'm gonna see you there. Okay, we have things coming up. There's a reading of Blue Roses which is the musical version of The Glass Menagerie, which I can't wait to see. And my buddy Howard McGillen is in it. We did Anything Goes Together on the Great White Way. And that's October 18th. We have the Oscar Hammerstein Award, and they're giving the award to Maltby and Shire, and that's at the Edison Ballroom. And then we have the musical Cheek to Cheek, and it's choreographed by Randy Skinner, who I just adore, and he's a 4-time Tony nominee. There's gonna be a lot of tapping. Come on. It's going to be great. It's going to be great, 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 great. And if you need more information, just go to York Theater, theater spelled the old-fashioned way with an RE.org, and you'll find out everything you need to know about us. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in, and I'll see you next time. Bye.